Hello, everybody. My name is Thach. I'm the Miracle Sports intern at SportsAbility Alliance here in Tallahassee, Florida. I would like to introduce Jim Moore, team representative of the Orlando Magic Wheels. How you doing?
I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with me. So just start off a little bit. So can you give me a little brief history about the Orlando Magic Wheels team and how it pretty much got started?
Okay, back in the 90s when the Orlando Magic, the wheelchair, the regular NWBA basketball team started, the original founders for the Magic Wheels, the wheelchair basketball team, were very tight with the Magic, and they convinced certain representatives of the Magic that they needed a namesake playing wheelchair basketball to go along with the NBA team. So back in the day, they sponsored us and provided us funding for traveling and things like that, uniforms, all kinds of things. Over the years, the team did pretty well. I joined the team somewhere around the year 2000. And at that point in time, or somewhere in that area, the Magic changed all their charitable donations to the Youth Foundation. So this is an adult league. The youngest players we have are generally not younger than high school age. And they go up from there. So basically the Magic supported us in kind with jerseys, but that was about it over the course of the years. The original founders of the team turned everything over to me, so I became the treasurer for the 501c3, and we didn't really have a gym, so we had to beg, borrow, and steal court time and things like that. I forget exactly what year, but when the Magic built their new stadium, they also built rec centers around Orlando. And when they did that, they talked to the people in Orange County, and they gave us a pretty good deal on practice time to use the Orlando Magic gyms. So we've been doing that for, God, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 years now. So that, in a nutshell, is just a brief history. We are a 501c3. We're a charitable foundation. We have to beg, borrow, and steal to get money to travel for hotel rooms, for gas, for flights if we go out of town. We compete within the Florida Conference. There's teams in Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville, okay? And we all belong to the NWBA, the National Wheelchair Basketball Association, and that is a nationwide organization. And there's teams from all over the country. So we hold a tournament every year. We try to raise enough money to travel to tournaments like Alabama, at Lakeshore, places like that, places that are reasonably accessible for the team that only take us 4 or 5 hours to get to. The national tournaments tend to be, they were in Chicago for a little while. This past year, they were in Kansas. So that's a big expense when we travel to a national tournament because we've got to get the team out there. We've got to put them up at host hotels, things of that nature. They're responsible for their own food. So, they're responsible also to raise funds for to go and do those kinds of things. So we've gone through various different people. The team itself is composed of, I'll get into that, composed of lower limb disability athletes, people that are in wheelchairs because they're paraplegic. They have spina bifida, which is a birth defect. or they're amputees. I'm an amputee. So there's different levels of disabled people that play. And in order to balance the court and and make everything even, each disability is assigned a numerical value. Okay, so that you're only allowed to have so many points on a court for a regulation game.
Okay.
So, and they switched to a functional disability way of counting that, which is a lot more complicated. I'm not going to even get into that here. It's way too complicated to talk to about here. But just for simplicity's sake, I'll go 1, 2, 3. So I, as an amputee, would be classified as a 3. Somebody who's disabled, but they still have their trunk from like the chest up,
yeah,
they're a 2. Somebody who's paraplegic and handicapped all the way down through their waist, it would be a 1. So when you add us together, you can only have so many points on the court. So I'm 3. There's only 5 people on the court at one time, so that has to add up to like 12, I think, is the old way of doing it. Okay. So that's an oversimplification, but that's so you get the idea.
Okay.
We also have women on the teams, and females on any team play. So if they are a 2, they get to play as a 1. So they get to play one level down, which is kind of interesting. So.
Okay.
Women have teams as well. The NWBA has 3 different levels of, there comes Javi. They have 3 different levels of junior teams, okay, from high school and then lower. And some of the younger kids play on 8-foot rims. We play on regulation college courts. Okay, 3-point line's a 3-point line. We're not in the professional realm with that. Hey, Javi, can you hear us? I don't think you can hear us yet.
Oh, there
you go. You're in 2 places at once.
Yeah, the app was logging in faster than the web page, but okay. I deleted one, which is weird. So the other one should be like getting off.
Yeah, whatever. We got 2 pictures of you right now.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so this is Alan, and he's with
SportsAbility Alliance from Tallahassee, Florida.
Oh, nice to meet you, Alan.
Nice to meet you. So continue, Mr. Moore.
Yeah, where was I? I forget where I was. I was talking about who can play. Yeah. So, it's different levels of disabilities. We particularly practice once a week. We'd like to practice more, but it's still up to the different players to get to practice. They're responsible for their own sports chairs, and those are quite expensive as well. We also have a number of military guys on our team. Javi's with an ex-Navy guy. We have an Air Force. We have several Marines, and we have an Army personnel. So, we've got a little bit of everything. So that's kind of the makeup of our team. Different teams have, like from Miami and whatnot, they play at different levels. So there's 3 different levels of adult basketball teams. I mentioned that the women have their own division. There's college divisions, and the adult divisions, which are male and female. There's Division 3, which is what we are. It's more of a developmental division.
Okay.
Division 2 is a much more advanced caliber of player. And Division 1 is something that you'll see playing international ball and at the Paralympics.
Okay.
So that's like top level players. They're
okay.
way out of our league. So
you were saying that you were more developmental. So what would you say is the overall goal and mission for the team as far as either developing them as a player or just kind of giving them as an activity to do?
All of the above. We give them a venue, a sports venue, for activities.
Okay.
One different venue. I mean, there's a whole lot of different wheelchair sports out there. So we give them that. We've got a team that's made up of a whole bunch of different kinds of people, and they rely on that for if they're a new paraplegic, a lot of times they'll talk to somebody who's been a paraplegic for a long time regarding like catheterization and how do you deal with pressure sores and things like that. So it's not just developing a basketball team or developing them for sports. So our objective is all of that. Okay. Plus, we want to get better. We want to be able to go to the national tournament and come out on top.
Sure.
This year we finished 7th. And we could have done better, but we finished 7th out of 16 teams. It's kind of like the NCAA finals. And what happens is once you have gotten to a position where you have won a national championship in Division III, you automatically get moved up to a Division II.
So similar to like out in European soccer, where
yes, exactly. So you don't get relegated, but you can advance. So
okay.
And then it also depends on the players that you have. If and that's all decided by the NWBA, the national people. If you have won a national championship, but half the guys that started on your team go someplace else or move along or get jobs or whatever, now you're back to being a Division III. You have to kind of work with the organization to get yourself back to a Division III, because if you're going to be Division II with just brand new people, you're going to get killed every game. So
yeah.
So it's about the competition, and it's good competition, and it's a contact sport. Mm-hmm. No question about it.
So you were talking about that, and what would you say has the impact that this team has for not only your players but other people, other athletes that are in the same round? What would you say about that?
Okay, well, let me do something a little bit different. We over the years we've gone various places to do exhibition games. So we do like a halftime at the Magic game, and people see us there, which is kind of interesting because they're there to watch professional basketball, and they see us playing at halftime, and they really enjoy it. Yeah. We also have been and go fairly frequently, at least once or twice a year, to some of the middle schools and high schools in the area. And we've been to UCF and do some of their disability awareness days. So we go out there, we play wheelchair basketball for the kids. And then a lot of times we'll either go into the classrooms or host Q&A type sessions where they can ask us about disabilities. They can ask us about wheelchair basketball, about the equipment that we use, all manner of things. And kids come up with just about every question you can think of. Embarrassing or not, they just
of course.
So yeah, and it's good. So we answer them truthfully, so it's good. So it's a learning experience, and it's good for the guys on our team. They always enjoy talking to the kids and sharing what's going on in their life and how they got disabled or were born that way or how they deal with it, things like that.
So when you go have games, either locally or nationally, do you notice any kind of like audience where it's also disabled athletes?
We get a few. I mean, when we go to a tournament, the other players on the other teams will stay around and watch our game if it's interesting.
Okay.
But also, when we have a tournament, we attract all kinds of able-bodied and non-able-bodied people. You know, we don't get huge crowds, obviously,
Of course, yeah.
but we get. You know,
But as far as like exposure or like kind of like promotion, it's like if you be able to see other, you know, people who are also disabled, physically able, be it's like, oh, hey, they're pretty good. So it's like you also be able to promote not only your team but other teams as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and we do that. You know, a lot of times people will come and they'll see us play, whether it's at a school or at a tournament, and they'll say, hey, I know this guy, he has a husband or a wife or somebody who's paralyzed and maybe they could use some exercise, and, you know, they'll contact us sometimes, and sometimes they come out, you know. But there's a lot of opportunities for people. There's scholarships to college. You know, we've had several players on our team that have earned college scholarships through wheelchair basketball. So, there's all kinds of advantages to playing with the team.
So would you say for promotion, would you go through social media like Facebook, Instagram, or even would you mainly rely on word of mouth from connections, from friends or families? How would you say that?
We use it all. I mean, I've got Javi and some of the other guys looking into our current website, and we try to keep it updated. We keep, we're out on Facebook. We're not on any other social media right now, at least not that I know of. We've got some team apps that we communicate with each other, but that's about it. But, word of mouth, and we're always looking for sponsors. So that's a huge, huge part of it, because it costs a lot of money to run a team.
Of course.
And to go to tournaments and things like that. Just to run a home tournament to pay for refs and things of that nature costs us about $5,000 just to run a tournament. Mm. And that doesn't count going out of town to run a tournament or to participate in a tournament.
And so would you say with this team plays year round, or is it just a certain amount of months? Our normal season is the same as the college or pros. I mean, it's somewhere around September, October. We practice all year round, and we invite people and to come and to our practice to see if they want to play. We've got enough support where we can probably put somebody who doesn't have a sports wheelchair in something temporarily to try to see if they would want to pursue that, because if they do want to pursue it, there's other venues to get grants to get a wheelchair, either through the military. We've got a couple guys right now looking for military grants to get new wheelchairs, or there's a couple foundations out in California that you can submit for sports equipment like that. So when you're talking about funding, so how much support do you get from the local community as far as, do you guys get donations since you guys are a 501c?
Yeah, we've got a couple of, the Harper Foundation is a big sponsor. The Magic, up until a couple of months ago, have not been a sponsor financially, but we are now getting back with them. So they just started providing a little bit of financial assistance for us, and we're going to look at that going forward. Okay. We've got some catheter companies that help sponsor us. Some of the guys on the team are associated with like different grocery stores and stuff like that. We get sponsorship money from anywhere we can. We beg, borrow, and steal. Well, maybe not steal, but.
And how much support do you guys get from the NWBA? So like the league office? No, that's not. We pay them to join the league. So we have to pay individual registrations, team registrations, just to be part of the league.
So it costs us, and we also have to do, we have to go through courses of safe sport to make sure that we don't, so that everybody understands biases and bullying and things of that nature. So, those are prerequisites. And we got to pay for some of that too. So, and our support staff has to do background checks, and we got to pay for that as well. So, the NWBA is there, and it's the umbrella organization. They don't give us anything.
But do they? So they host tournaments that you go to, or is it just?
Yeah, and we pay for that.
Oh.
Yeah. So they host the national tournament.
Okay.
All the other tournaments that are out there are usually from local teams. Like Alabama has the Lakeshore Foundation, and they sponsor a tournament every year. That's in Mobile, Alabama. And there's a couple of teams in Houston and up in the Carolinas and places like that. But to go to those places, you either got to drive a lot or fly. So,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, NWBA is just like the government authority over everything. So they host the nationals, but other than that, every tournament leading up to nationals, it's up to the local team or foundation to, come up with the money and do all that, run everything. They just have to follow within the rules of the NWBA.
Now, the NWBA does provide referees, not for free. I mean, we pay for the referees for each game, and they get regular fees for that. But, they have to go through specific training because it's a wheelchair basketball. The rules they're adaptive. I mean, they're same bit. It's just like playing basketball, only the rules are adaptive. So the referees have to look for things that they normally wouldn't look for in a stand-up
basketball, regular basketball. Yeah, of course.
Exactly. And a lot of the refs also ref high school sports, basketball, football, things of that.
Of course.
That. Yeah.
So I would like to ask Javier a couple questions if you don't mind.
Sure. No, go ahead.
So I was told that you were one of the coaches?
Coach player, yes, for the time being.
So what has your experience been like playing for the team and also coaching?
The experience is awesome, from the beginning when I started back in, I moved here 2015. I only had like about a year and a half experience just playing, so moving out here. I came before I even moved, and I had contacted Jim and came to one of their practices even before moving to come check out the team and see how everything was, because I was planning on moving to Orlando. And I came to Florida, and they even let me borrow a chair, and I practiced with them for a little bit. So that was a pretty good experience coming already from somebody that's just a little bit learning the sport, how welcoming it is to travel and being able to even get into a practice and play for a little bit with them. And then I moved and I started practicing with him. And since day one, it's been good because I'm a very competitive player. So as soon as I get into the team, and their goal is to develop, and you want to develop a team, to get better and to win a championship. And along that goes all the other stuff, that they come in and they learn a sport, and then, whatever they push to do within the sport, it helps them outside in life to push, and get better to whatever they need to do. So as soon as I get and I started putting my 2 cents, because of coming from the Navy, I was always in a position of leadership there towards the end. So as I come into the team, I started, trying to put my 2 cents into like the goal and everything that was always going on, to push everybody a little bit harder and to get everybody hungry to, just not kind of come and go through the motions, even though the team is always like, even if like the practices sometimes I felt were just going through the motions, they still like had fun and the camaraderie was there. And after the practices, they always go to eat and have dinner all together and all that. So I always kind of wanted to push that. And as the years has passed, it's just gotten better and better and better. And the team gets better. So like Jim said, we've had our ups and downs within the seasons, but but that comes with players coming in and players moving, and you keep developing and developing. And last year we were in a pretty good position. I think we can only move forward from that. So I'm looking forward to this upcoming season because we've made some changes, overall everywhere within our practice and leadership and coaching and everything that hopefully, seems like it's going to be a good year because usually, like Jim said, we practice throughout the year, but right now we're in the off season. So during the off season, a lot of people, stay laid back and you don't get that many players within the practice. But right now we're having almost full practices where we at least get 10, the 8, 10, 12. So everybody's kind of motivated practicing of the off season. So I'm looking forward to the next season on all of us pushing and hopefully, achieving that long-term goal that, we want to develop and we want to teach and we want to have fun, but we also want to win.
So would you say the overall community for the wheelchair basketball, not only for your team, but for other teams, is it kind of welcoming or is it you're still competitive once you're in game?
No, it's of course it's competitive, but anywhere, I believe I travel a lot. I travel a lot for sports and that I do. And I've met so many teams, and I think everywhere you go, everybody's competitive, but within the community, everybody's very welcoming. Even if you don't qualify for the sport, but you're coming to watch the sport because you want to learn. We have people that come for interviews within, I don't know if you went to the practice already. I kind of been off the emails because I've been busy because of work. But anybody that comes to practice and wants to learn and find out about the sport, we'll teach them, even if they're not qualified physically to play. And if we have a chair available, we might even put you in a chair, have you push around, and teach you the sport. And that's anywhere you go, that happens. I don't think I've ever been to a place where I notice a coach won't even, if they see somebody new, they won't even talk to them or try to find out what's going on, see if they want to try out the sport.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your answer. So,
yes,
if Mr. Moore, if there's anything else that you'd like to add in,
we're always looking for new players too, and that's part of what Javi's talking about.
Yeah.
It's just like a college team where people come and go. I mean, they graduate, or they get another job, or they move out of state, or sometimes they get married. They get whatever. So we're always looking for new talent, and it doesn't matter if they've played before or not played before. And that's part of the beauty of the team because we've got enough players that have been around for a while and enough people that can teach like Javi and Will, that we can bring new people in. And we're also, and one of the things I forgot to mention was it's a multilingual team. We have like five Rodriguez's on the team, and we've got one young man that doesn't speak any English, so he's, Javi does a lot of translating, and so does one of the other guys. So, it's a mix, but we're all there to support them, and it works. It works very well, I think. I've been involved with this team for. They found me at a disability convention someplace, and the lady that was running the team said, "Hey, you're tall. You only got one leg. Do you ever play wheelchair basketball?" And I told her, I said, "I've never even been in a wheelchair." So I came out and I liked it, and it was fun, and I'm still doing it. And then when they left, they said, "Hey, Jim, we're leaving the team to you." So.
Yeah, and it all starts from either somebody walking in because they heard from us or they contacted us through the website and we kind of gave them the information to get to us. Or there's different medical places or nonprofits or somebody that will contact us and, hey, we have this kid, he's going through this. I wonder if you can reach out. So then, we'll reach out to them over the phone. And if they kind of don't want to come to the practice because they're a little bit intimidated, then we meet them out at a park or we go have dinner with them and have a little chat, and show them how welcoming we are, and then figure out a way after we talk to them how to get them to the court. Because all we want them to do is come watch, because it's kind of, I would say 99.9 guarantee that if you come watch, you're going to end up wanting to play. I don't think I ever had anybody that gets to the court and doesn't even want to try it once they see everybody playing, once you're talking to them. So, yeah.
Well, I want to thank you both for taking the time to talk with me. So, everybody, for for me, Alan Thach, I would like to thank Jim Moore and Javi. Is it Rod or is it
Rodriguez.
It's Javier Rodriguez. Yeah, just for
He's
sure.
one of the Rodriguez.
Sorry. But I want to thank you both. So anyway,